This is Shannon from Bow Freaks Archery. Just like last year when Darton released their 2025 model bows, we did a quick review for you. We're going to go ahead and do a quick rundown on the 2026 models that just released from Darton. So they're going to have 3 flagship models, just like they did last year: a 31, a 33, and a 35-inch axle-to-axle bow. So spec-wise, they're going to be they're exactly the same as last year. But they do have some changes that you'll probably see some benefits from them. The first one is actually you get to looking at the paper specifications on these. It does show them a little bit lighter than last year. It doesn't show very much, but you can actually feel it when you pick them up. You will notice a little bit of a difference in weight, so they reduced some weight on that. One of the things they did, or several of the things they did, is obviously you can see several more cutouts this year. So they've taken a little bit of weight out of the risers to drop that weight. And then the first thing we want to talk about is their timing adjustments, just like last year. They've reduced just the blockiness of that. So aesthetically, it's a little more eye appealing. It doesn't look so chunky there. And obviously that was probably a weight reduction of a little bit, because those things were pretty beefy. So they've also changed how you use them, or potentially could use them. There was a little bit of confusion on those last year. There's just one set screw that you're going to loosen, and then you've got a dial up here that you're going to twist, and it's actually put some indicator marks on it there, so you can actually kind of see where you're at versus where you were as you're turning it, and kind of gauge that on it, how much you've actually turned it. But it's just twisting that or untwisting that, and you're basically twisting your cable or untwisting your cable, which is changing the timing of the bow. You're going to use that. You don't have to have a bow press for that. So again, you can, if your timing gets a little off, one cam's a little ahead of the other one, you can actually adjust that very easily with just a few twists or half a twist or whatever you need to get those cams to come to hit the stops at the same time at full draw. So again, a nice tuning feature there. Again, don't need a press for that. The next thing you'll notice that they changed from last year is they're not actually running the axles through the limbs anymore. So they've actually built a kind of a block system that sits on top of the limbs that the axles will use. It's still the same shimming system that you'll use shims if you do need to get to that point, but the axle is actually contained on top of the limb. Lets them change up some of the thickness of the limb at the end, because obviously they're not running a 1/4-inch axle through it. So that's I like that. I like that feature being there. It also gives your presses something to grab on when you're pressing, which makes them a little easier to not have them slip out the press if you don't know what you're doing with the press. So you also notice all the little holes here. So what they've done this year, in the past they did every 1/2 inch. You could change your draw length a 1/2 inch at a time. Now you're able to do that in 1/4-inch adjustments. So the module and the draw stops both have pegs for 1/4-inch. So it lets you fine tune your draw length a little more. The other thing it's going to let you do is kind of play around with your valley a little bit. Let's say you're a 28-inch draw. You don't have to set that module in 28 and the draw stop in 28. If you wanted a little more valley, you could set that module in, like, say 27 3/4, keep your draw stop on 28, and it should give you a little more valley there. You could do this in the past with some bows, but it kind of got a little wonky on how it felt doing a 1/2 inch between the module and the draw stop. This 1/4-inch should give just the right amount of ability to lengthen that valley if you want to do that, and get a little less aggressive on how it wants to come down on you. So that's a nice feature for this year. They've still got their tuning block system here that you can adjust for horizontal tears. This for us really, if you're probably 3/4 of an inch or an inch, you can probably get it out with this. What we were doing in the past is, if it was much more than that, it was just easier to go ahead and move the shims and leave the limb adjustments in kind of a neutral position for our customers. That gave them the ability to have a full range either way. I've seen some customers come in where they got it tuned, but they were all the way down on one side. And then, obviously at that point, they have nothing else they can do if they need to go a little more later on. Let's say they're going into broadhead tuning and now they're out of adjustments. So for us, it was a lot easier just to go ahead and shim these without using the limb tuning, unless it was just a minor amount. And again, kind of gets you in a neutral position with the shims, and then use either side for those adjustments for our customers down the road. So, but it is a nice feature there to be able to get a little bit of horizontal issue out. So that's the same as last year. Nothing changes on that. It's still going to use the same limb legs as last year. So that feature is nice because that limb leg attaches to the limb pocket, not the limb, so it actually can stay on the bow. So that's a nice feature there. The next thing they've changed is it's going to be a little bit hard to see in here, but they've changed the roller guard system in here, and you'll actually see some marks in there. So what this does is, if you have a little bit of horizontal issues, again, you've also got the limb blocks. You can also, or limb adjustment tuning. You've also got the ability to shim, but you also got the ability to actually change the spacing on how your cable guard is set. So let's say you have some very high profile vanes that you're running and they're getting a little close to the cables. You loosen up this little lock nut here, and then you take an Allen wrench and you're going to drive this, and you just drive it left or right to get the amount of cable clearance you want on your vanes. So that's a nice feature. If you're running a higher profile vane, you're not having to run your rest maybe a little farther out or than you want to or should, and or rotate your knock so your vanes are missing. This gives you a little bit of play to run that left or right, and vice versa. If you've got some really narrow vanes where you don't need as much clearance, it's always best to keep the cables as close to your arrow as possible, because it puts less side load on your bow by doing that. So again, a nice little feature there. And again, it's just a lock nut here that you're gonna break loose, and then an Allen head in here, and you drive in those rollers left to right. While we're in that area there, a little different grip from last year. It's kind of a rubberized grip that's going on the back, and currently it's what they call a neutral grip. From my understanding, they're going to have a 2.5 and a 5 degree grip that can be changed out on this later. It's got a couple set screws here on the side that you're going to take out, and then pop this out, and then pop your other one in and drive those set screws in to lock it in place. So a little bit of customization there. The other thing is they've added a pick mount for you guys that like pick mounts. For you guys that know me, I'm not a huge fan of pick mounts. Doesn't give you the ability to kind of run your sight in and out to do any kind of getting your housing size to your peep size kind of fine tune. So again, it is a feature if you want it. If you're not going to use it, I'd probably pop these two bolts out and save a little bit of weight there and get it out of the way. But again, for you guys that like pick mounts, it's a great option for you. It still has the integrated mounting system for the back, so any of your integrated rests that'll be able to clamp on the back. And I know in the past we had some issues with the depth of this, and there really wasn't, on some bows for some reason it didn't get milled right, and they were a little bit thin on being able to really get a good bite on those. It's definitely a deeper channel this year, at least on the 3 bows that I've seen that come in for our demo bows. So that I like, they kind of figured out that little issue that we had last year with some integrated rests not wanting to really get a good seat on that integrated piece there. Couple other things on it. Again, the risers look very similar to last year. As far as you can tell, they're a Darton riser, but they are a lot more cutouts this year, and look a little sleeker. It's a good looking riser, just like all their bows. Draw cycle should be very similar to last year. I haven't put these in the draw board yet or shot them because they just come in, but the profiles look identical to last year. I think it's just basically they went in and cut the extra holes for the 1/4 inch adjustments. They have also come up with another accessory. There's going to be a loop that can screw into your top hole up here on your limb pocket, and it basically makes a little loop up here, so you can attach your pull-up rope with a carabiner. You just hook it in there and pull up your bow. So it's a nice little added feature. It doesn't come with it, or at least didn't come with my packet, so I'm assuming it's just going to be an add-on accessory that you can buy, or make something yourself pretty easy too. I'm assuming it's something you can just figure out the thread size and come up with something there as well. So, but again, another good launch for Darton. And we do have the demos in stock. We've got a 31, a 33, and a 35. So we'd love you to come by and shoot them. We're going to place our big first order Monday morning, get some bows rolling in for some guys that have already messaged me over this weekend. And we'll get some bows we can actually sell in here pretty quickly, hopefully. But yeah, a good launch for Darton again this year. Should be another positive year for them going forward. And we'd love you to stop by and give them a try. Again, thanks for your business and look forward to seeing you. Thanks.